What's this book called? Overworked Dragon?
Dylan's Dragon.
Okay. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Teacher Lady Show. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Behind the Book. I'm Miss Erica, the Teacher Lady, your fairy godparent when it comes to sharing joyful stories and growing young minds. Now, every single week on the Teacher Lady Show, we have a different topic. And this week's topic is all about time management and organization. We are trying to get our little ones more invested in their own schedule and prioritizing their own tasks. And of course, we're using picture books to be able to do so. Now, winding things back, on Monday, we had the Teacher Lady read aloud of this story, Dylan's Dragon. And today we're going to go in depth on the behind the book review, where I will be going over the glows, what I think was done well, the grows, what I think could have been done differently, who this book is for, and how do you utilize it as a resource to raise children that are more invested in their own time management abilities, okay? Now, be sure to check out the other read alouds, as well as on Friday, we have the Teacher Lady Speaks, which is a crash course on how to raise children which is a crash course in how to raise children that are more invested in their own schedules. But for now, we're going to hop into this review. You ready? Let's grow. Summary in my own words. Dylan's Dragon is about a boy and his imaginary friend, the dragon, okay? And throughout the story, Dylan wants to play with the dragon, but he is very busy. Dylan has a schedule like Barack Obama, okay? And so every time he goes to play, he can't play because he has homework and this activity and that event to attend, and it is very overwhelming. And so overall, it is the story of a boy who wants to have more fun, but is overwhelmed by the day-to-day tasks that he is signed up for. And it takes us through that journey of figuring it out. Now, in terms of take-home message and target age group, I would definitely say that there's a take-home message in allowing a child to be a child. So much of his schedule was packed, and he kind of complained and pushed back, and his parents were just kind of like, it's too bad. This is what we're doing. Eventually, they recognized how exhausted he was, and he was able to change some things, but so much of his days were being done to him instead of him having the agency to be able to do the things that were most important to Dylan, okay? So there is definitely the take-home message of having control over some of your schedule. I feel like with children that becomes difficult because you're a child, but they should definitely have some input around what activities and how many activities they do. That's one of the take-home messages. The other take-home message is in advocacy. Dylan did try to speak up for himself and say that this is too much. And even though it took a few pages for his parents to recognize that, I still think that children could really get the take-home message of speaking up when things feel like too much, when things are too much. And then the last take-home message is the importance of having time in your day to just enjoy your day. Like, not every second and minute has to be perfectly scheduled. Sometimes you just want to wake up in color or run around with your imaginary dragon. Now, in terms of age group, 4 years old and up will definitely understand the contents of this story. And you can probably hold a conversation around 5 years old or so. And I would even say for children who might be neurodivergent, as well as children who are English language learners, I also feel like they will get the message, because the pictures really do a great job of illustrating some of what's going on in the book. And the words are pretty clear and straightforward. And so, I always say that I give an age group, but it's going to depend on where your child is in terms of reading, in terms of developmental levels. But overall, I would say 4 or 5 years old, most children will start to get it. Glows. One of the things that I thought was done beautifully were the images. It's almost like the images had like a texture to them and the pictures came alive. The colors were very vibrant and very engaging. I would also say that there is the glow of Dylan speaking up and just being frustrated. Like, all I want to do is play. I feel like encouraging our children to self advocate, which we have a whole week on self advocacy as well, if you need that. But I feel like teaching our children to self advocate in a way that clarifies their position is extremely valuable. And although that was just a nugget of the book, Dylan speaking up and saying this is too much really started their parents kind of looking at and recognizing that they may be doing way too much. And then the last glow would have to be at the end of the story. The parents do finally recognize that it's too much and they allow Dylan the space to have more fun and kind of cut back on some of these other obligations. Grows. I would say that the book does not clarify that Dragon is an imaginary friend or a neighbor's pet. Like, we don't really know who Dragon is. And I think that becomes a bit confusing for some children. I made the assumption that this is his imaginary friend, but for children who don't understand those concepts, that could be a bit confusing. I would also say that I would have liked more of Dylan's voice in terms of advocating or speaking back, kind of page by page. Instead of that one nugget at the end of the book, I felt like it could have made for a stronger story for him to still be doing the activities, but to let his parents know, like, I am exhausted and this is too much. I also think would have been really, really powerful. So overall, it's definitely a book that helps you kind of reflect in your own schedule and your own time management for your child, and also encourages children to start to look at their commitments and what is being committed for them. And I encourage you to check it out. There is a link in the description box below. Discussion points to have with your child. I would have a discussion around how they're feeling about their schedule. I think so much of childhood is children having things done to them, done for them, told where to go. We don't like to answer simple questions like, hey, what's for dinner? You'll see it when it's on the table. Or, hey, where are we going? You'll figure it out when we get there. Or, well, how long are we going to be there? The list continues. I think a lot of times we shut children down instead of giving them a voice. And I would hold a discussion around how they're feeling in their schedule. How are they feeling in their day? Are they exhausted? Do they feel energized? Do they want to do more next semester or less next semester? And is something else being sacrificed? I mean, in the story, Dylan, his playtime was being sacrificed. And with your child, there might be their rest is being sacrificed, or their ability to watch their favorite TV show. What are the things that right now they're giving up and recognizing that they are a child? They should not have the responsibilities or the schedule of a grown adult. Okay. So that's how I would have a discussion with your child around this topic. Wow. I really appreciate having this resource and being able to reflect in my own schedule and my child's schedule. And I hope that you feel the same way. If you have not done so, be sure to check out the read aloud to better understand some of the points that were made in this video. If you did not know, I am also an author and illustrator. Be sure to check out my work, as well as the Empathy Library, which is a passion project of excitement and enthusiasm. The Empathy Library was made to get books to children in need on purpose. Those libraries that are gifted to them, they reflect the identity of the child, okay? So go check out the Empathy Library, my books, as well as the read-alouds from this week. And then on Friday, the Teacher Lady Speaks. There's so much on my channel for you to consume and learn and grow alongside your little one. Until next time, you remember to enjoy the moment or go be a joy in the moment. And thank you for watching. Bye. All right, let me see that checklist.